This morning, we learned of the death of Senator Dianne Feinstein at the age of 90. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom will choose her replacement, at least temporarily. But he's already has his hands tied on who he can pick based on his own political pledge.
If, in fact, Dianne Feinstein were to retire, will you nominate an African-American woman to restore the seat that Kamala Harris is no longer in the United States Senate? And do you have a name in mind?
I have multiple names in mind. We have multiple names in mind, and the answer is yes.
Restore the seat that belonged to Kamala Harris. 3 Democrats, Congressman Adam Schiff, Congresswoman Katie Porter, and Congresswoman Barbara Lee, are running for Feinstein's seat in next year's election. But for now, focus is on Newsom, who will choose to fill out that position. But of these 3 candidates, only Barbara Lee is a black woman. Isn't this the kind of identity politics that has caused many to flee the Democratic Party? Joined again by Carrie Sheffield, senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, Connell McShane, new host of NewsNation Now, and comedian John Fugelsang, also a host on Sirius's Progress Channel. John, isn't this exactly the sort of thing that's led people to flee the Democratic Party?
How is it any different than promising to appoint a Christian who believes Jesus was against abortion rights? I mean, here's the deal. I understand the problems this presents to the Democratic Party.
Because one's a position and another's the color of your skin.
Right, okay, but again, we have these identity politics for many other areas. Black women are the core constituency of the Democratic Party. Black women keep this country's entire economy going. The racism is that in our history, we've had 2 black women in the Senate. There has not been representation for this important part of our country's population, considering how much they contribute to our everyday functioning as a society. So Gavin Newsom might be in a tough position. He's got 3 great people running. I was looking forward to watching Schiff and Katie Porter duke it out, but he can appoint someone interim. There'll be an election, and we can see what happens.
He didn't have to make this pledge.
No, he didn't have to, but it's not the first time we've seen this in either party. We usually, or have seen it before in the Supreme Court, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because when President Biden made a similar pledge last time around on his Supreme Court nominee, stories started to come out that years ago, President Reagan had made a similar pledge, I believe, with Sandra Day O'Connor.
He did, to appoint a woman.
Not race, but gender. So we do see these types of things where politicians have done this. And the history here for Gavin Newsom really is that, California politics, he's seen as having backed himself in last time. There are a lot of people, Democrats in California, that believe he should have replaced Kamala Harris with a black woman.
Yeah, but,
so there's a lot of pressure on him.
But there is a lot of pressure on him from the Democratic Party, and this is the problem with the Democratic Party. I mean, this is why the Democratic Party is becoming a more narrow party, is because of pledges and promises that become narrowly defined. I'm going to appoint a black woman. I mean, it just seems like...
And if he appointed another white guy, he'd face the same amount of pressure.
But why not just appoint whoever you want? Why do you have to make the pledges and the promises?
That's what I completely 100% agree with you. If he wants, and Joe Biden, if they wanted to place a black woman, just appoint it. Don't make a pledge, because in my view, and I don't have standing, maybe I could figure out a way. This is illegal. I think this is discriminatory. You can't have a government job be discriminated. It's called the EEOC. You have to have race, gender can be off the table. It cannot be used when you're doing government hiring here. So I don't understand how it's even legally allowed. I think it's wrong. And it's true that, maybe the black woman is the best person to understand the history of discrimination.
I think
I'd like the Senate to look more like my country.
I think it actually undermined in the Supreme Court choice. Right. I think it undermined the selection of someone as qualified as Ketanji Brown Jackson was. There's no one in terms of pure resume. Right. She had everything you need. But instead, it was, I'm going to appoint a black woman, and here's one that I've picked, instead of, look at this woman's resume.
Exactly.
And that's
I think they did both, and Biden did both, and they highlighted her resume.
Yes, he highlighted her resume, but it undermines it.
No, but Dan does bring up a good question, and I think this is more of a question really than a statement. But how does this help? How does a pre-announcement help you politically? In other words, you would still get the same.
It helps. No, it helps you for the 2 years before the actual thing happened. He's promising to appoint a black woman. He's promising to appoint a black woman.
But it's also a thank you. It's also a thank you.
Yes, that's right. It's a political thank you. you.
Even if you're going to do it anyway.
Okay, it's bald-faced partisanship, and it's racist, and it's sexist and discriminatory.
No, racist
so
is only two black women in history being in the Senate. That's the racism.
Look, the most qualified person should be the one who gets the job. Whether it's a black woman, it could very well be. Then absolutely.
But I think Dan's point is he could still appoint the black woman.
Right, but I would say, look, I would take on a little bit in the sense that I do think with the Supreme Court, we talk about the most qualified. For a senator, you just kind of appoint somebody because it's political. At least there you're admitting it's politics, right? In the Supreme Court, at least there's this patina of qualifications, and that's the issue. For a senator, you just want someone who's going to vote the way you like them to vote, and they're done some stuff that's interesting.
I thought that was just the House.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.